the goal of this year was to kind of figure out what is parkour. Can you label it as parkour or free running or art de déplacement? Does it fit into any of those boxes? I also really wanted to figure out how to use this passion that it inspires in people and how to use that productively, how to use that as an agent for social change. The first part of the trip was spent in the UK, and for me that was more of about getting the basics down. So I spent 4 months in London training with Parkour Generations, really trying to get the physical and the mental aspects of my own parkour to a point where I felt comfortable traveling with it. And for me, it was really eye-opening to really become part of this London community, which is a great community. And by community, I mean something more than just a group of people that happen to train together. There's more of a family feel to it. There's something special that that you don't see in all the YouTube stuff. That was huge for me. I got to see the effect that it has on people and kind of the potential that there is with parkour as an agent for social change. And it wasn't just kids and young adults, it was everybody. It was working professionals, working mothers, kindergartners. What I found in the UK was an entire mentality of a difference between doing parkour and teaching parkour. And while I was there, I was really inspired to learn how to teach parkour, which I took my ADAPT certification to become a parkour instructor. And went from there. So after the 4 months of basic training, I headed to Australia, where I was able to kind of really experience some independence with both my training and my thinking. Being able to see parkour in a different environment was really useful for me. I was able to see that the community aspect wasn't just a community aspect, a parkour community. It's a global parkour community, which is something that become reinforced over and over the course of the trip, and that was really cool. The group in Melbourne that I worked with, the APA, was really positive and had a great atmosphere going on there that helped a lot. Also experiencing a new type of movement, a new style of movement was really good for my training because it kind of got me prepared mentally for my adventures in South America. South America was cool because I really got to see the different stages of development of parkour and to see kind of it evolve before my eyes as I traveled from country to country. In Argentina, I witnessed more of the kind of the raw, untethered, pure energy style of parkour, where there was no class, no gym sessions, no formalized training, just movement, just pure movement, pure natural. And the guys there, they were young, but they had a lot of talent and they had a lot of passion. In Chile, I was introduced to probably one of the coolest kind of organizations that I worked with on the trip, called the Parkour School, which was really inspiring to work with because I was able to see parkour at a grassroots level in the streets with kids that didn't really have any other options, but used in such a way that it really made a difference. The parkour that was being taught was both promoting the philosophy and the discipline behind the sport, but also keeping it fun. For me, it was good because I'd only been used to parkour in an urban environment or in a gym facility. And so being able to train in the woods or to train in sand dunes was really cool. To be able to build your own spot with some of the kids, that was great. And seeing that the motivation, the drive, and kind of the empowerment that gave the kids was amazing. I was invited to go to the National Jam in Conception, and there I really saw the beginnings of a national network forming. I was able to see parkour really evolving before my eyes in Chile, because I saw it really at the grassroots level with one organization and then extending out into others. It was really cool to be able to get engaged with those guys and then be able to stay in contact with them afterwards and keep tabs on the progress of this developing national organization. Brazil was pretty crazy. I spent 2 months traveling all around Brazil, a different city every week, and I was able to not only see the full spectrum, but also to see the regional cultural differences that existed just within that one country. You have the guys in the south that train very differently from the guys in Bahia in the north. I was able to see this both at training sessions and also at kind of bigger events. I went to a jam in Sao Paulo with a bunch of the guys that I was living and training with. And then I went to another event in the north of Brazil, in Aracaju, with a bunch of the northeastern parkour guys. And they were two very different events, two very different feelings, but both amazing experiences. And I really got to meet a lot of great people. The funny thing is that the styles differ between all these regions and countries, but really the essence of the sport stays the same. And it's the same spark you see in the kids' eyes in Chile as you see in the kids' eyes in Brazil, as in Denmark, as in Italy. And it's really cool to see that. And I was really glad that I had the opportunity to really witness this on an international level, because not many people have. One of the things that was really funny was that I'd met a guy in Australia that was making a comic strip called Parkour Panels that highlighted a lot of the debates and events that were going on in the Australian scene. And coming to Brazil, I introduced that to Brazilian guys and it caught on right away. And the Brazilian guys translated it because it echoed a lot of the stuff that was going on within their own community. This really connected with me because it showed the full international spectrum of the parkour experience and how guys in Brazil can understand exactly what the guys in Australia are feeling, despite the fact they've never met, they've never talked, they've never interacted, but they're doing the same activity. Coming back to Europe was kind of like coming full circle for my trip, because that's where I had started. And my first stop in Europe was to Milan, where I met with Laurent Piemontesi, who was the guy that first really introduced me to parkour. And I came back with a year of experience under my belt. A lot of things I witnessed in Europe were strangely reminiscent of what I had just seen in South America. I mean, you could take a gym in South America and you could put it in Italy, and it looks pretty close to the same thing. And that was pretty cool. I met a group of youth in Schio, Italy, that had created the Crap Freestyle Association, a combination of BMX, freestyle skating, parkour, and skateboarding, and brought these sports together and built a facility that was amazing. They were offering children's classes and adult classes and workshops. Watching these kids build stuff in Italy is the same as watching them build it in Chile or in Brazil. This was really cool because I really was able to see the impact that parkour had on these people's lives and the things that it could inspire them to do. Watching them build these parks from nothing, with no experience in business or in construction. And you watch a group of kindergartners in Chile and you see the look on their faces. And then I would watch another group of kindergartners in Italy. They're shouting in a different language and they have different experiences, but it's the same movement. It's the same love of movement. In Rome, I finished my certification as an adapt instructor at an event there. And during that event, I really fell in love with teaching parkour and realized how much of an impact I could have within the matter of hours, let alone days. In Denmark and Norway, I was exposed to a style of training that really made me think about parkour and sit down and go through the experiences that I'd had over the past year and kind of figure out why this sport was so amazing. The environment that I was in Denmark was pretty unique. Gallo was an awesome training environment, and the guys there had created an atmosphere that was so positive, so driven, so motivated that it was impossible not to really fall in love with the sport. Working in Denmark with the kids at street camp, I was able to see yet again how, regardless of linguistic or cultural barriers, parkour really brings things out of people. It inspires them to do things they'd never thought would be possible, to do things that they'd never really wanted to do, never really considered. And seeing the impact that good instructors could have on people's lives was impressive. Not just on their athletic lives, on their personal lives. One of the things that I asked everybody as I was interviewing is kind of, what is parkour? And a lot of people answered with the statement, parkour is life. And it's something I thought it was kind of cliche until I really started thinking about it. And Parkour, for me, parkour isn't life. Parkour is a lifestyle. And it's a way of thinking, it's a way of approaching obstacles, it's a way of approaching just life in general. It's a way of kind of having a seize the day mentality to your life and not letting little things get in your way and figuring out how to get over the big obstacles. It's something more than just an exercise or a fitness thing for me. It's become much more than that.